The opening weekend of the inaugural Nations Championship and Nations Cup has delivered exciting rugby, impressive performances, and some important changes in the men's World Rugby Rankings. While it is still early in the tournament, the first round of matches has already shown that every result matters. A single victory or defeat can make a big difference, and several teams have already been rewarded for their strong performances. The biggest winners from the opening weekend were Scotland, Chile, USA, Samoa, and Canada. All 5 teams climbed higher in the latest World Rugby Rankings after producing positive results. For those nations, it was the perfect way to begin the new international competition and build confidence for the matches ahead. The biggest headline of the weekend belonged to Scotland. They traveled to Cordoba and defeated Argentina 47-38 in one of the most entertaining matches of the opening round. Both teams played attacking rugby, creating plenty of scoring opportunities, but Scotland looked more composed during the biggest moments of the game. Their attack was sharp, their finishing was clinical, and they managed the pressure extremely well. This important victory gave Scotland more than just a win. It lifted Gregor Townsend's side to 5th place in the men's World Rugby Rankings, matching the highest ranking in the country's history. It is another sign of how much Scotland have improved over the last few years. They continue to compete with the best teams in the world and have become one of the strongest sides in international rugby. For Argentina, it was a disappointing result. Despite scoring 38 points and showing plenty of attacking quality, they could not stop Scotland from taking control when it mattered most. The defeat caused Los Pumas to drop from 5th to 7th in the rankings. Although it is only one result, it highlights how competitive international rugby has become, where every match can influence the rankings. Interestingly, this was the only positional change among the world's top 13 teams. However, several other nations still gained or lost valuable ranking points, even if they remained in the same position. Another major talking point involved 2 of rugby's biggest rivals, the All Blacks and the Springboks. The Springboks produced another impressive performance by defeating England 45-21. It was a convincing victory that showed why they remain one of the strongest teams in world rugby. However, because of the World Rugby Ranking system and the large points difference between the 2 teams before the match, South Africa did not receive any additional ranking points for the victory. That created an opportunity for the All Blacks. Although they were not playing South Africa, New Zealand managed to reduce the gap at the top of the rankings. It may only be a small change, but every ranking point is valuable as the battle for the number 1 position continues. Another success story came from Chile. Playing at home in Santiago, they produced an outstanding performance to defeat Romania 48-31 in their opening Nations Cup match. Chile played with confidence from the opening whistle, attacking well and taking advantage of their opportunities throughout the game. The victory moved Chile up to 17th in the men's World Rugby Rankings, equaling the highest ranking in the nation's history. It is another important milestone for Chilean rugby and shows the progress the team has made over recent years. Their performance was one of the biggest positive stories of the opening weekend. While several teams celebrated success, others experienced disappointment. The biggest loser in the rankings was Spain. Even though they were involved in the highest scoring draw in Test rugby history, the result caused them to fall 3 places to 20th in the rankings. It is their lowest position since January 2024 and shows how quickly rankings can change after a single international match. Several other nations also slipped 1 place after opening round defeats. Portugal dropped to 15th, Uruguay moved to 16th, Hong Kong, China fell to 24th, and Zimbabwe slipped to 25th. These changes may appear small, but every position is important as teams continue fighting to improve their standing in World Rugby. The opening weekend also brought good news for USA, Samoa, and Canada, with all 3 nations climbing the rankings after encouraging performances. Their progress reflects the growing strength of international rugby outside the traditional top teams and shows that more nations are becoming increasingly competitive. Overall, the first weekend of the Nations Championship and Nations Cup has already made a big impact on the men's World Rugby Rankings. Scotland celebrated a historic achievement by matching their highest ever ranking. Chile equaled their best position in history. The All Blacks reduced the gap on the Springboks, and several emerging rugby nations continued moving in the right direction. With many matches still remaining in both competitions, there is plenty of time for more changes in the rankings. Every game from this point forward will be important, and every team will be looking to earn valuable ranking points. If the opening weekend is any indication, rugby fans around the world can expect many more exciting matches, dramatic results, and important ranking changes before the Nations Championship and Nations Cup come to an end. The opening weekend